This is Michael ZapQ, and the objective of this tutorial is to give you a brief overview of the tools found in Audacity. But before we go through the tools, I'll first start by just recording a short audio file, and then we can actually use some of the tools with the audio file. So let's get started. First, as a lot of record buttons are, it's the circular red button here. I'm going to go ahead and hit that and then start my recording. Audacity, a great free recording tool. And then stop. Then you can review that by hitting the play button. And as you play it back, you can see the audio levels here. You want to keep it as pretty close to 0 as possible. You might want to even shoot for -6 just to give yourself some space there. If you'll play back again. You see most of it's staying about here. You see those little lines? That kind of shows you where it's peaking. And so try to keep it, you definitely know more than 0. I know it's kind of hard to tell on the little graph, but try to shoot for -6. And when you're recording, I don't know if you noticed when I recorded the first time, but it showed right here, it'll show you about the levels you are. You can't see the 0, but this is the edge here where you wouldn't want to go any higher. And to adjust it, if it seems like a lot of what you're recording is going that high, then you'll want to lower this input volume level here. So it's one of those things you just have to play with a little bit. And you may have additional things you can adjust on your headset or your microphone. But again, make sure it doesn't go above the 0. In playback, if it sounds like it's a little distorted, then it probably is. And you can also tell how your levels are doing by looking at the waveform here. You can see that this one is touching the very top of the line there, and for the most part, you don't want anything to really touch that. I mean, this is fine here, just a little bit like that. But once you start getting a big portion of it going beyond that point, you will start hearing some distortion. So, I've already showed you the record button and the playback button. Also with the playback button, if you hold down the shift key on your keyboard, you can see just by pressing the shift key it changed into a little circular icon. And now if I press it, when it gets to the end it should start over. You can see it started over there. And hit stop. So that'll give you a nice loop if it's something that you wanted to listen to several times in a row. That's one option. You can certainly pause, stop. This button is a skip to the end button. So if I click that, if you can see this little line right here, it moved the timeline indicator to this location. If I hit this to the left, it'll move it back to the beginning. So if you had recorded, let's say, a minute or several minutes, and you wanted to start back to the beginning, that would just be one quick way you could do it, or to go to the end. And the timeline indicator is that little line that you see, and it shows where you are in the timeline. So I can see that I didn't start recording until this point, and so this is about a second. You can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds. Sometimes you might have a lot of silence and you want to just start where the audio starts. So you could just easily click right before where it starts, and then you can hit play. And then this is also what you would use to help edit things out of your recording. So for example, I have this whole section at the end here, and I'm going to left click and drag. That's what I did there, was left click and drag to the end, and you can see it stops there automatically because that's the end of the recording. And then if I wanted to delete that silence, I could actually just do it on the keyboard and hit the delete key. You can see that took out that portion. And you're going to usually want to do that at the beginning and the end. And now if I go back to the beginning and hit play, so there you have your little segment ready. And that works just as easily in the middle, I mean anywhere. If I had stuttered right here and said something like that, I could have easily listened to see where it was. Great, I can easily just select that section and hit delete, and you won't even know it was there. So I'm going to undo that. You can do it by going to the edit menu and hitting undo, delete, or there is a little icon here, the little arrow pointing backwards. That'll be your undo button, and if you've undid something, you can redo it by hitting this. You can see it disappeared again. But I'm going to leave that in there for now.